Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek Season 1, Episode 16. It's called the Galileo 7. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. I actually really like this one.
Yeah, I thought this was great.
This is back to sort of Star Trek that I really like. So the really simple plot of this one is that Spock, McCoy, Scotty, and four not quite red
Oh,
shirts, but
the yeoman.
okay, it's a different. Okay, it's a different actress though. At this point, she's not really a character.
All right, fine. I'm just saying, like, she has a rank at least.
Okay, sure, the yeoman, and then three other randomers. Okay,
Yeah.
but the three main characters are on a shuttle called the Galileo, and they're investigating a bit of space phenomena out there, and they end up crash landing on this planet. And the Enterprise, of course, are looking for them. However, they have a commissioner on board who is expected to arrive at this other planet in X amount of days. So they have a ticking time clock. They have I think 3 days at the time of the crash landing to search for them, and if they don't find them in that time, they have to leave and abandon them. So Kirk, who has a less of a role in this one because he's the one on the ship, just kind of concerned about the people down
He's
there.
just delaying it, basically.
He's trying to stall and trying to find them time. But the main plot is down on this planet with, as I said, McCoy, Spock, and Scotty, and the others. So it's them stranded on a planet. They've got a little shuttle, which they're sort of is a little safe zone.
This is the introduction of shuttles, right?
I believe so. I don't think we've had a shuttle yet.
No, I don't recall any before this, which is so that's cool.
Yeah, I I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there's a thing in one of the earlier episodes where they could have used a shuttle to
Oh
solve a
no, there
problem.
was because I
Yeah,
think I think we even mentioned it.
did we? Yeah.
Yeah, because they tried they couldn't beam them up for some reason
Yeah, it's like, they'll just send the shuttle. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because the writers hadn't thought of it yet.
because they were dying of the cold
Oh, that's it.
on the
Yeah,
planet and they couldn't beam them up. They send the shuttle. But they've got two shuttles apparently. So
yep.
uh,
Stored in a nice little hangar bay.
yeah, so yeah, it's them on the planet in a little shuttle, and they're trying to like repair things so they can hopefully because they can't transmit a signal. The planet's atmosphere is completely destroying that.
Yeah.
Can happen. So the plan is to try and get it working long enough that they can get into orbit and then signal them from up there, and hope the Enterprise sees them. Spock knows they're on a time limit. Spock is the acting commander on the planet's surface. He's the highest ranking officer, and we also find eventually that there's these beings, which are essentially, it's probably the worst part of the episode is what these things look like, because it's essentially just guys in
Yeah.
these big furry suits, but they're supposed to be like furry beasts that are 10 foot high.
Yeah.
Actually, no, the worst part is their weapons. They're really shitty, cheap spears that they're throwing because they look really bad. In fact, at one point, towards the end, when the shuttle's about to leave, there's like this it's when they're outside and like when the rock falls on Spock and
Mm.
they have to get him. Just before that, when they all start throwing all these spears as they're leaving, one of them actually chips one of the rocks, and like the
Yeah.
top of the rock comes flying off. It's obviously like polished iron or something
Oh,
like that.
no, all the rocks are, when they're lifting the one off Spock,
Yeah.
you can see McCoy leaning on it, and you can see it springing in. And there's the other one where one of the other guys, the one who's they left him to guard
Yeah.
when they did the shooting bit. When he goes to climb the wall, the whole thing shakes.
Yeah. It was the bit coming off though that really amused me because not only did obviously does it chip off, which is weird. It's a different color. The little bit that's left is
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
obviously not painted underneath, and it really made me laugh. So that is definitely the weakest part is the costume value and the weapon value of these villains. That said, a plot that I really enjoy in science fiction and horror is when you have a group of characters sort of like trapped in one place and there's like no man's land outside the place. Doctor Who does this a lot,
Yeah,
where
it
you have
does.
the one little safe zone where they're kind of safe, but outside of that, it's like the villains are there or the villain, the monster's there, or whatever,
Mhm.
and they have to keep coming back to the home base. And that this episode has that, so that right away is just a good bit of fun for me. It's like a
Yep.
fun action plot. And I think it really helps that. And you've got the ticking time bomb. You've got this douchebag commissioner on the Enterprise being like, "Ah, we need to
Yep.
leave. Yeah, not a second longer than we're supposed to wait," and so on. But of course, the real core of the episode and what makes it even greater than that is the fact that it's a really good character study for Spock, and it's about Spock's relationship with the crew, how the way he thinks, his logical approach to things differs from everyone else, and how maybe when push comes to shove, can he have a more of an emotional human response, which is kind of what the ending is, and they're all laughing because he has
and
that moment.
ultimately it's about, is he fit for command? Obviously, he makes a great second in command to Kirk. We see that time and time again, offering his opinions, but captaining purely on a logical approach, does it work out? That's kind of what this looks at.
And to a point, it doesn't here, because he logically makes these decisions. He predicts what these Neanderthal beings are going to do, and
Yes.
he gets it wrong because he thinks, well, we've demonstrated our superior weapons, they should back off. But as McCoy says, but they're not rational beings. They're well, for lack of a better word, they're stupid. So they just react emotionally. They act. Oh, we need to hit back harder. Is essentially the reaction.
And it's ultimately him succumbing to the emotions that is the right choice in the end that saves the day.
Yeah, it is. Because you keep having that debate where the other crew members are pissed because one of them dies and they want to have a funeral, and Spock doesn't understand why they're wasting time having a funeral. And then later on, when Spock does get trapped under the rock, and McCoy and the other guy comes back for him, he's like, "You should have left me." And he's almost angry that they wasted their time trying to get him, because he's so logical to a fault. But it's an inspiring little thing. It's, even though, I mean, obviously McCoy would help him because McCoy has a love-hate relationship with him. They're kind of friends still. But the other guy's been antagonistic the whole episode.
But he still can't leave him.
But he still can't leave him. And it's that human response where it doesn't matter if it's making more of a risk. The point is that life matters.
Yeah.
Is that you matter. And it's a nice little play on that. And you have the theories back and forth throughout, and right from the get go when they say, "Oh, we need to get off £500 for us to make orbit," and he's like, "Well, that's about 3 people."
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Can we draw straws?" And he's like, "Nope, I will weigh up the options and I'll make a logical decision as to who's the dead weight."
Yeah, we can't have it be me, McCoy, or Scotty now, can we?
No, we can't, because we all have names. But so it's a good exploration of that.
I think it was interesting to have the commissioner be there on a mission to give medicine to this other planet where there's this plague. Obviously, he comes across as kind of a dick, but that parallels quite nicely, I think, with Spock, because obviously he comes across as a dick in this episode, at least. But they're ultimately doing the same thing, where Spock's there going, "Hey, we can sacrifice a few people and save the majority, and that's better than saving none." And the commissioner's kind of doing the same. He doesn't put his point across as well, but he's doing the same, where it's, "Hey, we can leave these 7 people and save however many with this medicine that we got to deliver."
He's still more of a dick, just by the fact that he is human still. Like, 'cause at least Spock has a reason. He has an excuse. There's a biological reason why he's acting like the way he does.
That's
Whereas
fair.
this guy, like, I actually kind of lost count of the times in this episode where he says, "We're leaving in X hours," and then the door shut in his face, like the elevator door, like every single time.
Yeah.
Like, it was getting comical. That's how he exited every single scene he was in.
It's true. It's
So-
true. And like you said, yeah, he doesn't have the same reason or excuse, but he's kind of doing the same. The logic of it is still the same that we're seeing.
But I think kind of like the debate of the episode though is that does the logic of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few match up to the actual humane? I'm connected to these people, therefore I have to try harder.
Yeah, that is it, and I think that's where this episode for me, like, it was a very good episode, but I think it could have been better if it explored that a little bit more up on the ship with Kirk and him having this debate a little bit more.
Because honestly, despite his reasons being somewhat just, it's kind of that classic thing where, and I think we've run into this with a few different shows over the time doing this stuff on the channel, is that this group of people that he's trying to save isn't a real group of people to us as the viewer. We've never seen these people. They're just a plot point. They're a
we want
figment.
Kirk to stay and save our crew.
Yeah. And as much as you can tell me that logically this makes more sense, it doesn't really matter to us because we're the audience and we care more. So we're always going to side more with Kirk on this debate.
Yeah.
Always. And we're always going to side more kind of like that's the weird thing about the debate on the planet that makes it work more is because we do know these characters. So when McCoy and Spock start having a debate, we care about both of those sides, and
Yeah.
it works more than that way. Which is why the commissioner for me is he's almost like he's almost like the probably the most Vulcan like you can get on the human scale.
Yeah, he's very antagonistic, isn't he?
Yeah, he's overly antagonistic. He's very uncaring. Like, at no point during the entire episode does he seem like he actually sympathizes with anything that's going on. He is very robotic and cold about the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that is my biggest problem with the stuff on the ship where he doesn't, come and talk to Kirk and be like, "Look, I know there's people there, but we can save more with this medicine." It's just we know that's what he's doing because it tells us that, but he doesn't get this reasoned argument with Kirk at any point, which I feel like it's lacking.
But no, it's a very very fun episode though. It's very very exciting and very. It keeps moving, and we have that ticking time bomb element. And even when the time runs out and Kirk has to leave, and the crew's not saved yet, he's like, "Yeah, don't go warp one. Go standard
space speed.
Standard
Yeah.
speed. Let's just crawl, just in case they somehow get a signal to us. Let's just crawl away, because he's still obeying orders. He's still doing it." And that's when Spock does that last ditch effort where he ignites some of the fuel to make a bit of a show, which works.
It does. Do you know? I love how many episodes already we've had that have had this, ticking clock, but it still works every time. Like that, as long as it's used properly, it doesn't get boring in that sense because it just adds tension immediately.
Yeah, well, it's been used in a different way every time, I think. I mean,
It
maybe
has.
this one's probably a little bit similar to the one where like Sulu and the others were trapped in the planet, freezing to death, but it probably worked even better here because it was more, the people on the planet. Because
It's because we reversed where the clock was, where we were. Because on that one, we were up on the ship, waiting for them to get back.
Yeah, partly that, partly also because as much as we kind of care about Sulu, the combination of Spock, McCoy, and Scotty are a little bit bigger. Like that,
Yeah.
we care more, and they're at risk. And not only that, we see them on the planet trying to save themselves. Like they have to scramp and scrape for every single chance.
Yeah.
To
Absolutely.
maybe survive, but the odds seem so huge. The odds seem so stacked against them, which is why when it's like, oh, you need to make a leap of faith to possibly survive at the end, and Spock making that leap, which is why like Kirk coming up to him and like sort of coyly asking him about it and kind of
So you did something emotional, did you? Hey.
yeah. Actually, if I'm going to make one more complaint, is when they all start laughing at the end, and that's when it goes to the credits. Really fake laugh. All right, I'm just saying, like it's really obvious that everyone's just fake laughing. It's absurdly fake.
Yeah, that's fair. It's over the top, isn't it?
It's like
Yeah. Maybe that's just how people laughed in the '60s.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think.
I'm just saying.
I really hope not, anyway, because it's creepy if it is. If that's how people were laughing when they were walking around in the '60s, I'd be really, really worried about it.
Yeah. Do you know, my favourite line of the whole bit is it's again proving why Spock and McCoy are my favourite pairing.
Mm-hmm.
It's where Spock says, "Oh, earlier on I may have been mistaken," and McCoy just goes, "Oh, I'm glad I lived long enough to hear that." Cracked me up.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But no, it was a solid episode. It was because the last one was a little bit weaker, and we had two great ones before. So I'm glad that it's quickly rebounded into another great one. So, no, really really solid episode. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. So thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.